You're listening to Big World Network.
Pathological Passion, written by Jared and Lisa Kwan, read by Wendy Herman. Episode 11. Eric opened his eyes, feeling a mixture of hope and frustration. He knew there would be a very small window of opportunity, and he quickly dressed himself. He raced down the hall towards the elevators, searching for Elise. He reached the elevators nearly out of breath. "Can I help you with something, Mr. Winters?" the assistant asked. "Have you seen Elise? Miss Mayweather," Eric asked. "She has already left the building. However, it looks like there is a message for you," the assistant replied. She removed his bracelet and handed him a small tablet. As Eric raised it up to examine it, the screen came alive and appeared to scan his thumbprint, opening a sealed message. "Eric Winters, we would like to offer you a full-time position with Zephyrs," a woman on the screen said. "You will be assigned to the Creative Marketing Division, labeled the Alpine Group. Given the needs of the company, you will be required to move to London, England. Airfare and moving expenses will be compensated. Should you accept this offer, you will have 5 days to report to our offices at Broadgate Tower. You have 24 hours to reply." Eric thought of Elise, but she had already gone home for the day. He couldn't exactly show up at her place when she'd said she didn't want to see him again. And here was the chance of a lifetime, even if it did mean moving to another country. He couldn't throw a limited-time offer like that away on someone who didn't even want him. He took a deep breath. "I accept now," he said. "Perfect. I will make the arrangements and have the tickets set up in your profile. Welcome to Zephyrs," the voice replied. Eric moved to hand the tablet back to the assistant, but she rejected it. "Mr. Winters, this is a gift from the Zephyrs Corporation. It is yours to keep," she replied. Eric felt a mixture of relief and anxiety as he moved for the elevator. He knew this was what he wanted, but part of him felt sick to his stomach. He entered the elevator, and as luck would have it, Quinn snuck in. He looked both pleased and irritated. "You're lucky we ended up here. I still don't know how you caused all of this," Quinn said. "Would it matter to you if I again said that I had nothing to do with this?" Eric asked. "Nothing you can say or do could convince me otherwise. When I write up my reports on the interns, yours will not be favorable. I doubt they would hire you," Quinn said in a snarky tone. "It looks like you might be a little late on that," Eric said as he waved the pad at him. "Only mid-level employees get those," Quinn replied. "Exactly," Eric said as the elevator dinged. He walked off with Quinn still trying to process the new information. Eric looked down at his phone and noticed the dozen calls he had missed, including the text messages from his roommate enthusiastically announcing his own employment offer. As he walked over to the taxi stop, he slid his finger across the screen of his phone. He paused on Elise's number, then thought better of it and selected his mother instead. Soon the indicator on the screen informed him that it was attempting the call. In the meantime, he pressed another button on his phone and said, "Apartment." A light tone let him know that his destination had been accepted. A taxi stopped soon after, and the door opened. "Welcome, Mr. Winters," a friendly male voice greeted him. As he climbed into the car, the phone finally made contact. "Eric, is that you?" A video of his mother came on the screen. "Yes, Mom," Eric replied. "I could hardly tell. I wish you would get an updated phone. I have a few minutes before I have to head back to work. What's going on?" "I've been hired on full-time," he replied with a broad grin. "Oh, that is so exciting! Congratulations!" "Of course I have to move to England," Eric added with a slight chuckle. "I'm so happy for you. I wish your dad could see you," she replied. "Let's leave Dad out of this for once," Eric said with mild irritation. "You're going to have to forgive him someday," she answered. "I have." "Well, it's not going to be today. Look, I've got to go, Mom. I love you, and I'll talk to you later." "I love you too, dear. I'm so proud." Eric hung up his phone and looked out the window at the rain dancing on the pavement. He took a deep breath as he ran his hand through his hair. "Someday I'll forgive him," he thought to himself, "but I don't want anything to hold me back. So today, I'm focusing on me." The taxi slowed to a stop outside of his apartment complex. As he exited, he waved his phone at the sensor to pay for the ride. "Okay, England, here we come," he said out loud. Elise sat in her bed, staring out at the city. The dreary weather, stacked with the emotions of the events in her life, made her feel physically ill. "Should I summon up some chicken soup, ma'am?" Jarvis asked. The sound of his voice made her feel just a little better. "Yes, please," she said. Then a phone call notice began to chime. "Answer." "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" Jenny asked through the video screen. "I'll survive. How are things at the office?" "Good. It looks like everything is returning to normal. Soon this investigation will be done, and you'll be clear to return to work in no time." "I hope so. That department is fragile," Elise replied. "Too many projects are in the air." "Don't worry about it. I've been temporarily appointed to run the department in your absence," Jenny said. "At least there's a silver lining. How is Indigo?" "Unfortunately, during the investigation, I can't talk to you about ongoing projects," Jenny said. "I am so sorry." "Don't worry about it. Thank you for checking in," she replied. "Do you know how long the investigation will last?" "I heard that there is a 4-week rough estimate. Just think of this as an extended vacation." "Yeah, right," Elise said. "Before I let you go, how are your dreams going?" Jenny asked. "Don't know yet. Haven't slept. But I think that portion of this is finally over." "Good luck," Jenny said. "You too." Then the screen shut down, causing the room to dim. A ding from down the hall notified her that her food was done, and she shuffled into the kitchen. "I'm glad that I have you, Jarvis." "At least I have someone," Elise said as she sat down and began to eat her soup. "With all due respect, I am not the kind of companion you need," Jarvis said with his soothing English accent. "And what kind of companion do I need?" Elise asked as she raised an eyebrow. "Someone who actually has a physical presence. Someone who can love you, and whom you can love," Jarvis answered. "Are you saying you don't have a physical presence and that you don't love me?" she asked teasingly. "As usual, I can see that this debate isn't worth progressing," Jarvis answered. "As you know, I have limited functionality during the investigation. However, I can maintain low-level processes." "Well, pencil me in for low-level processes for the next couple of days," Elise said. "It has been ages since I've done that." "If you are suggesting that you are going to lounge about for the next 2 days, I am afraid you are mistaken," Jarvis said. "Is that so?" she asked. "You have created a list of 212 activities that you have earmarked for days that you have off. I have created an agenda that will optimize your experience. Let's just hold off on that list for at least 2 days, okay?" "Very well," Jarvis said. Elise lay in bed the rest of the day and read through novels she had always intended to read but put off. With no schedule, she quickly lost track of the day and fell asleep, with her newest favorite fantasy book lying on the pillow next to her. Elise instantly recognized that she was in a dream world, and without hesitation she looked around to see if there was any sign of Eric. After a short time, she found herself standing in a scene from the book she had been reading. She reached out and touched the rusted sword in the center of the chamber where she stood. On cue, a deep rumble shook the chamber. "Why are you here?" the deep voice of a dragon asked. "I was hoping to find someone, though at the same time hoping I wouldn't," she answered. "Sometimes we don't know what we want until it is gone," the deep voice said. "Yes, well, as it turns out, it wasn't really a want. It was chemically induced," Elise informed the dragon. A snarl ripped through the cavern, nearly knocking Elise over. She took a step backwards, toppling a bucket of armor. "You know better than that. You have a bond forged in ice," the old lizard said. "You mean a bond forged in lies," Elise replied in frustration. "It doesn't matter. I've probably lost everything I ever worked for. I can't waste my time on love." A deep laughter filled the room. "It is never simple. Either go after him or let him be. But you must move past this, and ignoring your feelings is not the way." "Then I choose to let him be and move on," Elise shouted. "I'm not ignoring anything." "Foolish or wise, only time will tell," the dragon said. Elise turned away from the dragon with a huff. Now where's the hero of this story already? I need to go fight something.
You're listening to Big World Network.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.